Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com, of course, and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. We are coming off Smackdown Live. Thank you for tuning in live. I know this is an unusual time, but last night I had to record WrestleMania 34 predictions. It just so happened to be the longest video in the history of the NoDQ YouTube channel. It went 94 minutes. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. But with that, let's talk SmackDown and recap the show. Like Raw, I thought SmackDown was basically a filler show. Not much to it. Nothing happened on SmackDown that really got me more excited for WrestleMania than I already was. But then again, there wasn't really anything that got me less excited, so you could look at that as a positive. The show opened up with Daniel Bryan. He introduced Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon was selling his injuries a little bit, but he still did his Shane McMahon shuffle, whatever it's called. Daniel Bryan talked about how they were going to beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The crowd started doing the "what" chant to Daniel Bryan, which I thought was really interesting. A few weeks ago, I mentioned how the fans respect Daniel Bryan. They hang on every word he says. I was surprised that these fans in Nashville did the "what" chant to Daniel Bryan. I'm really wondering why they did it. Were they bored with the segment? Were they not invested? Or were they just doing it like the fans chant "you suck" at Kurt Angle? I was perplexed by it. By the way, we have Kayfabe Candy Ass in the chat room, our moderator, one of our moderators. I think Big Jeffrey is going to call in a little bit. Maybe we'll have a few other people call in. That'll be later on after the review. Hand of Sand is here. Some of the regulars. Thank you guys again for tuning in at an unusual time. I know some of you are working, some of you are on lunch break. I appreciate the viewership. Tom McCarthy just left a $2 super chat donation. Should I jump the barricade at WrestleMania with a no DQ shirt? No, do not jump the barricade. Those WrestleMania tickets are expensive as hell. And you're an idiot if you jump the barricade for any reason, especially wearing a no DQ shirt. I appreciate the loyalty, but don't do it. Just don't. Big Jeffrey is here. Raiden Roach 1979 said, hey, at least Nashville was rocking for Bryan. About time they got loud. Yeah, they were still loud for Daniel Bryan, which I guess was a positive. I just thought it was bizarre that they started doing the "what" chant towards Bryan. The gist of the segment here, the big moment, was Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan hugging it out. A handshake just wasn't enough. They had to hug it out. The crowd did pop for this. Jeremy Adams said Shane looks like shit. So there you go. The guy's really sick apparently, so that's why he would look sick. Braden said Shane seemed off on his lines. Actually, you're right. There was one moment where Shane was talking and then all of a sudden there was awkward silence, like Shane forgot his line or something along those lines. He just blanked out. Whatever he was supposed to say, he forgot to say it. Some people are confused about what's going on here. Like, some people feel there's going to be a heel turn at WrestleMania, and we did discuss this on the No DQ predictions video for WrestleMania. We even gave a point if somebody correctly guesses a heel turn or no heel turn. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we are going to see a Shane heel turn? Do you think there could potentially be a Bryan heel turn? A Bryan heel turn would be a terrible idea. I am not a fan of it at all. That is right up there with turning Steve Austin heel at WrestleMania or turning Sting in WCW, turning Goldberg. That would be completely idiotic. Alexander says no heel turn. Big Jeffrey doesn't think there will be a heel turn. Shane McMahon could potentially turn heel and feud with Daniel Bryan. We could see that. Owen says, I would hate it if Bryan turned heel. So I'm seeing a lot of different opinions on this. I might post a poll on NoDQ.com to see what you guys think about it. Seems to be all over the place, though. But I think it's just best if Daniel Bryan and Shane win, and that's that. But coming off of SmackDown and the hugging it out, some people think that there's going to be some sort of Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan falling out. Quite frankly, I think the storyline needs to end. I think Bryan should be winning his first match back, and that should be that. And I think they should move on to a brand new storyline after WrestleMania, send Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn over to Monday Night Raw. Boston Punk, one of our moderators and the guy who runs NoDQ's unofficial Instagram account at instagram.com/NoDQDOTCOM, he says I could see Shane turning. Shady Snake says, good morning, Aaron. Thank you. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, depending on where you are, or good evening. I know some people are watching this in the UK and in Europe, and for them, it's a good time, because usually they're stuck having to tune into NoDQ Live at like 3 or 4 a.m. in that part of the world. Shady Snake says, just turned noon as I type that. Some of you I know are on your lunch break, so I do appreciate it, like I said, you guys tuning in at an unusual time for NoDQ Live. We have a little over 100 viewers, so not as much as usual, but I had to make an adjustment this week. It's a one-time thing. Next week we'll be back on our regular schedule for the post-SmackDown edition of NoDQ Live. Let's move on here. BR Sam said, just got off the graveyard shift, glad I caught the show. Let's talk about Charlotte versus Natalya, which was supposed to happen last week, but then Charlotte had the dental surgery and had to take last week off. This match was similar to a few weeks ago, complete with Carmella coming out and attempting to cash in Money in the Bank. Charlotte stopped her. She kicked the briefcase out of her hand, or the contract, excuse me. And literally a repeat from 2 weeks ago, we had Natalya roll up Charlotte, only this time it did not work. Nice little near fall there, nice little tease. Charlotte did come back, win the match, and then Asuka came out and had a stare down with Charlotte, and Charlotte said Asuka's not ready for her. Later on, after SmackDown Live, we had the mixed match challenge finale, which was Charlotte and Bob Roode against Miz and Asuka. We did have Charlotte and Asuka interact. They did work with each other. There was no separation. They did, in fact, compete against each other prior to WrestleMania. What do you guys think about this? Are you a fan of it? Yes or no? Leave a comment. Let me know. Chris Mace says, I have a feeling Charlotte will end the streak. Handful of Sand says, Charlotte is finally growing a booty. There you go. William says it was stupid. Snipe Rider says, I cannot believe they had Charlotte and Asuka fight each other before WrestleMania. I figured there would be something with them interacting in the Mixed Match Challenge. Whether it was a good idea or not, I don't know. But I wasn't expecting either of them to be involved in the finish. As it was, The Miz defeated Roode to pick up the victory, and Miz and Asuka won the Mixed Match Challenge, as I expected. You know, I'm not that good with predictions. I'm very iffy when it comes to predictions, but I actually got the tournament down completely. Literally every single match I correctly predicted. Now, that's not really saying much. I mean, it was fairly easy. If you looked at the brackets and looked at the weak links in each match, it was relatively easy to figure out. William Losh just left a $1.99 super chat donation. Shows that WWE doesn't care about pay-per-views in this era. Well, that's true. And if John Cena and Undertaker is an indication, the fact is we are in the $9.99 era where WWE's just trying to get subscribers, and it's not like you need to save all your big matches for pay-per-views. You can also give them away. You can really do anything. It just doesn't matter now. And you can do something with John Cena and Undertaker where you don't have them confirm the match before WrestleMania. Dr. Benzerine says, no, Aaron, it's the reality era. Yeah, reality bites, as far as I'm concerned. Let's move on here. Converse Craig, I will answer that question in a few minutes here. BR Sam says, this is the lamest build-up to WrestleMania ever. Like I said, I feel on paper it's one of the strongest cards in WrestleMania history, but build-wise, I think it's been one of the weakest. And speaking of weak build, on this go-home show, I know a lot of people complained about the video packages being shown during the matches. What do you guys think about that? I get it, it's WrestleMania, but at the same time, is it really necessary? Is it really going to sell any new people that are not subscribed to the network to watch WrestleMania? I just feel it's overkill, and I feel it's being overhyped at this point. I'm not a fan of the video packages being shown during the matches. Braden says, I have no problem with it. Jeffrey doesn't really have a problem, but Shady Snake says, I hate those video packages. Chris Mace, I'll talk about The Rock and WrestleMania in just a few minutes here. Let's finish up with the SmackDown review. A lot of filler, like I said. We had Rusev defeat Jinder Mahal. After the match, Orton hit an RKO out of nowhere, and then Aiden English was climbing the top rope to attack Randy Orton. We had Bob Roode push Aiden English off the top rope into an RKO. I thought that was kind of cool. I did like that. And then Randy Orton and Bob Roode had their little stare-off as the final build for WrestleMania. Rusev Day is making a comeback, says Chris Mace. We'll see what happens on Sunday if the momentum can continue. We had the New Day in a backstage segment with the Usos and the Bludgeon Brothers. The New Day were pulling devices out of their pants, which I guess was supposed to be funny. I must have missed the joke, not understood the humor because I was not laughing. We had the Usos come in and say they were going to win, and then the Bludgeon Brothers showed up and the other teams backed off. The Bludgeon Brothers complete with their rubber mallets. And this was the final build-up for the tag team match, which should be really good. In fact, will probably be a great match. Unfortunately, I feel like this was a weak final segment. The strongest segment they did was at Fastlane when the Bludgeon Brothers destroyed both teams. Chris May says it was a bad promo, but at least the Smack's own tag titles on the main show. Kayfabe Candy Ass says it's funny because they had things in their pants where their thingies are. And then he added, see, hilarious. Is Rusev really bringing back the Tank on Sunday? I have no idea. I mean, Rusev's match is not one of the main event matches, so I don't know if WWE is going to have that in their budget, quite frankly. We'll have to see. Yeah, damn you, Chris Mason, your spell check when you're trying to send me comments to read off on the live video. You SOB. Mike Nixon says, hey, Aaron, I have the perfect section that should happen with Taker and Cena. They should have Cena leave the arena, and as he leaves, there's a motorcycle in the way that says, see you Sunday. They could have done that. Like I said on the predictions video, any tease I think would have been good. There's no TLC match, Amir. It's just a straight-up triple threat match, unless at the last minute WWE announces something on WWE.com. Breaking news on Twitter. The match at WrestleMania is now a TLC match, which again is stupid. That's another thing I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of announcing things on Twitter. Announce it on television when you have the most eyeballs watching. Kesha says, where do you work, DQ? I'm not sure what that question is implying, but I work at home. This is my office here. If that was your question, I'm not sure if it was. Let's move on here and talk about the rest of SmackDown. We had an 8-man tag team match to hype up that epic Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, aka the Dre, that's going to be on the kickoff. We had Baron Corbin winning the match for his team. He was the only guy that got an entrance. So the idea is that Corbin is the odds-on favorite. Not even Ziggler got an entrance. No record scratching. Nothing. Nothing from Dolph Ziggler. Poor guy just came back and he's an afterthought. Chris May says Matt Hardy should win the Battle Royal. Tom McCarthy says I'm bored. Hopefully you're bored with WWE and not this video. If you're bored with this video, I apologize. Doing the best I can here. We did have Primo. Thank you for mentioning that, LK. The highly anticipated return of Primo to WWE. How exciting. Dr. Benzedrine. Is it Benzedrine or Benzedrine? I'm not sure. He says Ziggler getting paid to job around. Raiden Roach 1979 just left the $5 super chat donation. Thanks for all the great entertaining content. 6 years I've been watching. Congrats on 20 years and keep it up. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it, Raiden Roach 1979. I appreciate the viewership and support. And stay tuned because there's plenty more to come. Boston Punk says, I hate the as first reported on ESPN. Why is a news source breaking the news? Shouldn't WWE know their own news? Well, the funny thing is that a lot of this stuff is leaked out. Like the Hall of Fame list was completely leaked before anything was even announced on television. It was leaked by, I believe it was Brad Shepard. It might have been WrestleVotes on Twitter. One of them broke the news about the Hall of Fame back in December. And the credit was given to the major media outlets because WWE likes to have that relationship with them. WWE likes to give them little tidbits of news that they'll post on their site and give WWE publicity. So it's just WWE doing a publicity stunt. That's all it is. It is pretty lame, though. Let's move on here. I'm trying to remember what else. There was something else on SmackDown I wanted to talk about other than the main event. I guess we could talk about the main event segment. Oh, that's it. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And Marshall Leonard says, I appreciate your work, Aaron Rift. Congrats on 20 years. Thank you for that, Marshall. We had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out. They're fired, by the way, but they're reinstated for WrestleMania. They came out. They cut a promo, even though they're fired. Kevin Owens has a new KO Mania 3 t-shirt, even though he's fired. Whatever. Referees came out and were trying to convince them to leave. So apparently, WWE doesn't enforce fired people coming out through the crowd and cutting promos. Eventually, the mic got cut out, but if this was a shoot, there's no way these guys would be talking for 4 or 5 minutes. So this was lame. I thought this was a lame segment. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn talked for a while. We had Shane and Daniel Bryan come out, and they started having the crowd sing the goodbye song, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye, and that was that. I thought it was a weak segment. Main event was AJ Styles and Shin, also known as Shinsuke Nakamura, against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. AJ and Nakamura won. Is it just me, or is this also a really weak storyline? The match itself should be great. Should be a match of the year contender. Should be an all-time classic. But I feel like the build-up for this match has been really lackluster. I mean, 1 week you have Shin patting AJ on the head, and then this week you had AJ patting Shin on the head. It's almost as bad as the tug-of-war between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I mean, AJ doesn't get a pass here. This storyline is weak. It's really lame. And I think the match will be great, but I'm not a big fan of it. And you know, Shin saying that AJ is too emotional. This is the best storyline they could come up with. I'm sorry, WWF, WWE Fan 22. AJ doesn't get a pass. People like AJ and Nakamura, but this doesn't get a pass. It's crap. It's a lousy storyline, knee to face. It's weak. It took almost no effort to it, and it's just not working for me at all. I think the match will be great, but the build-up has been piss poor, in my opinion, and those guys don't get a pass because of their popularity with the internet wrestling fans. So that was it. I think I pretty much covered everything from SmackDown Live, anything significant at least. There were some video packages and all the usual stuff. But yeah, not a whole lot to write home about. WrestleMania is this Sunday. Any final thoughts you guys have? Any ideas you have? I did do predictions already with the NoDQ panel. Check out that video if you haven't already. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, feel free to let me know what you think for WrestleMania. Chris May says, will The Undertaker be at WrestleMania? I would assume so, with all the hype and build-up. I would assume he's going to be there. I would assume there's going to be a match. But like I said on the predictions video, I'm confused right now. I am legitimately confused. And if I'm confused, I think a lot of casual fans are going to be as confused. They're not going to have any idea what to make of all this. And I don't think that's good. I don't think it's good to have the fans confused and not know what to expect at the pay-per-view. Boston Punk says, my head hurts over this Undertaker crap. Peter says, Undertaker should stay retired. Jordan Smith says, any surprise entrance you want to see in either of the Battle Royals? Well, I'd like to see Samoa Joe or Big Cass return and win the whole thing, at least for the Dre, and just dominate the match and do something significant. It's going to really suck if Joe doesn't get a WrestleMania spot since he missed last year's WrestleMania and he's ready to go. So I hope Joe gets something big on this show and gets to do something at least, since he missed out on last year's WrestleMania. Jeremy says, best WrestleMania set. Ooh, that's a tough one to answer. I did like last year's with the roller coaster theme. I'm not really sure. I liked WrestleMania 17 for nostalgia purposes. I did like 17's set. I liked 21's WrestleMania Goes Hollywood set. I thought that was a cool one. 28 was pretty good in Miami. New York was really cool with the Statue of Liberty. I did like that set. I mean, that might have been the best thing about the whole pay-per-view. Braden, did you see Jeff Jarrett's video of him backstage? Not only did I see it, but I also posted it on NoDQ.com. Thanks for paying attention. All right, so Jeffrey, Big Jeffrey, if you're around, go ahead and call me on Skype, and I will have you on to get your thoughts on SmackDown and WrestleMania, anything you want to say about the show. Big Jeffrey, if you're listening, watching, go ahead and call me on Skype, and we'll get your thoughts. What was worse, WrestleMania 25 or 32? 25 had Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, so I would probably say 32. All right, it looks like Big Jeffrey's calling in. Jeffrey, you there? Big Jeffrey's calling in. Jeffrey, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we have a really bad connection. Say something?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there we go. It's better now.
Okay.
All right, so any thoughts you have regarding WrestleMania? How are you feeling about this show, and which match are you looking forward to the most, and which match are you looking forward to the least?
Well, I'm kind of excited for WrestleMania. The builds could be a lot better for some of the matches.
Absolutely.
This whole Undertaker thing, I don't know, I think we're all confused. I'm confused too. What'd be funny though is if Cena jumped out from the crowd and said, all right, let's do this one more time. And then you see Kid Rock come out and then play a song, and then you see Undertaker come out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a realistic prediction. We could see John Cena come out and make one last ditch effort. And then, like you said, Kid Rock comes out and does the song. And yeah, I like that. I think that's a good idea. So which match are you most excited about?
The most excited, I think it's would be Daniel Bryan and Shane versus Owens and Zayn, to be honest.
I agree on that. I think
it's Daniel's first match back in 3 years, I think.
Yeah,
So
right after WrestleMania 31.
yeah, yeah. And the least excited match, oh god, I guess Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. To be honest,
Well,
the only thing that would save it is what you guys talked about yesterday if Carmella cashed in and beat Alexa for the title.
right. So what do you think about the kickoff matches? Do you think those are the rightful matches on the kickoff show, or do you think the cruiserweight match should be swapped for one of the other matches? And if so, which one?
I don't even think it should be swapped. They should just put it on the kickoff show, or not on the kickoff show, on the main card, and just spread out both battle royals since you have a 2-hour kickoff show. Which is like what I have to agree with Jeff. They shouldn't even just name it kickoff. They should just have the whole 7 hour just go through.
Right. All right. Well, we'll see how things go on Sunday with the kickoff matches. Like I said on the predictions video, hopefully WWE doesn't have an issue with filing in people, and there will be people in the crowd for the matches. You know,
Absolutely.
32 was the worst because it was practically empty when Ryback and Kalisto went out there, and last year was definitely better. So we'll see if they learn from the past and get people in early. So anything else you would like to say about WrestleMania?
Not really. Just hopefully it's a good show. I'm gonna be prepared. I'll probably have some sodas with me to stay up for 7 hours. So.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna need the caffeine, so I'm gonna be drinking a lot of the diet soda and just trying to stay awake for this. I mean, it's 7 hours, so it's like a marathon. You gotta just you gotta be prepared. You gotta get a good night's sleep and
absolutely.
Eat properly and all that good stuff. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Big Jeffrey. And any plugs, anything you would like to promote?
Yeah, make sure you guys tune into Facebook Live tonight for me and Virtue on talking about Raw, SmackDown, and our final thoughts on WrestleMania. And that's about it.
All right. Do you know what time it is that you guys are doing it?
Sometime after 8:30, probably like around 9 o'clock. I'll post it on Facebook, or he'll post it on Facebook, Twitter tonight.
Okay, and I'm sure Virtue will post something, so make sure you guys follow Virtue at NoDQ_Virtue. All right, thank you for calling in, Jeffrey. I'll talk to you later.
Not a problem. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, if there's anybody else that has my Skype number and wants to call in and has any thoughts on WrestleMania, go ahead and do so. Some of you that have been on the panel before, you have my Skype contact, so anybody that is watching this and wants to say something, call me on Skype. Any other topics you guys would like me to discuss regarding WrestleMania? Any ideas you would like to throw out there? Converse Craig says, how cool would it be that Taker inducts Kid Rock? Well, the rumor right now is a certain guy who opens a can of whoop ass on people. That's the rumor, at least. You could check that out over at NoDQ.com. I don't think it's going to be Undertaker, though. I don't think Undertaker is going to be breaking character until he's 100% retired from WWE. Let's see here. Kayfabe Candy S says Santino. I guess Santino as a person inducting Kid Rock or a person in the Andre Battle Royal. I'm not sure what Kayfabe was asking about there. WWE Fan 22 says Undertaker and Cena will set up a match for WrestleMania 35. Oh man, that would be the worst thing ever. That would be so lame. That would just be... That would anger a lot of fans, I think. If WWE did that, I could see all the rage now. I could see people breaking their TVs. I could see all these rage videos on YouTube. There would not be a lot of happy people if WWE did that. Jose says, can you see Carmella cashing in on Alexa Bliss instead at WrestleMania? Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. And to me, that makes the most sense. Carmella cashing in, you know, she can't beat Asuka. Maybe she tries to cash in on Asuka and fails, and then she decides to use a loophole and cash it in during the Raw match. I could definitely see something like that happening. If Carmella doesn't cash in, it makes her character look like a complete idiot, as far as I'm concerned. Jasper says, do you think Neville will be Braun's partner? I don't think so. I would be really surprised if that did happen. I'm not anticipating that. I don't think Neville's coming back. I really don't. But anything's possible. I would not rule it out 100%, but I think it's highly unlikely in all likelihood. All right, guys, I think I've said pretty much everything there is to say about WrestleMania. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this edition of NoDQ Live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding WrestleMania. Check out the predictions video. Courtney Summers just left a $2 Super Chat donation, so I'll stick around here for another minute. Who makes most sense to be Braun Strowman's partner? As far as making sense, I like Big Cass as an option if Big Cass is ready to come back. I do want to see Joe doing something at WrestleMania. However, I feel like with Joe feuding with Roman Reigns after WrestleMania, WWE is not going to put him in a tag team situation. So I think it would be better and make more sense for Joe to dominate the Dre and win that and have Big Cass be Braun Strowman's partner. So I think Big Cass would be the best option, or Bray Wyatt, since Bray Wyatt and Big Cass have the history, although, or excuse me, not Big Cass, Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman have the history. So I think Bray Wyatt would make sense, although that would be the end of the whole feud between Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. I'm assuming he would be moving on to something else. And is he going to be Bray Wyatt, or is he going to be something different? I feel like that storyline is not wrapped up yet. So Bray Wyatt would make sense since he was affiliated with Braun Strowman. But other than that, I don't know. I think Big Cass is the best choice, in my opinion. Ty Marshall, when are you going to do the NXT TakeOver predictions? We already did it, my brother. Go to the channel. Go to NoDQ.com. It's there. So on that note, I will go ahead and wrap up this edition of NoDQ Live. I will be doing another NoDQ video to give you guys my thoughts on WrestleMania, final thoughts, final questions that you may have. So stay tuned for that. That will be up tomorrow. Again, check out the predictions video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com. WrestleMania coverage this weekend. I will be doing a live review video for both NXT TakeOver New Orleans as well as WrestleMania 34. It's going to be a crazy weekend. NoDQ.com will have you covered. And that's that. That's the end for this video. I will see you guys next time.